Today I'm Shanti to everyone. Welcome to those of you tuning in to the YouTube video later on. For those of you who haven't joined us before, my name is Shailen. Later on, my mother and Ben will join us, and we have been students of Raj Yoga for some years, mainly attending Delhi Janki Center in London. And this chit chat is really an opportunity for us to, in an informal way, to think about knowledge. And we do also bring in the morally or amorally later on. So the topic I've chosen today is based on yesterday's morally and this morning's morally on Baba, the ocean of love, and becoming a master ocean of love. But in this first chit chat, I mean, anything anyone has in their mind that they'd like to think about or share from their practice, then please feel welcome. You don't have to stick to that topic.
I am. Morning, everyone. I was listening to the book messages, and and the last set of book messages that have been coming in, there's this feeling of the urgency of time. And in Mohini Ben's book message, where she was saying that Baba was telling us, we need to have this courage and this faith. And Baba is the ocean. I was thinking is that because she was saying that Baba said, situations going to be coming, and we are seeing that, within ourselves, within the world, more and more is happening, and that it comes back down really, yes, to the foundation. I believe if your foundation is really strong, and to be able to really link with Baba at any moment, and so that I think once your faith doesn't shake, courage comes, knowing Baba is here, faith that Baba is there with you every minute, whether you're sitting, standing, walking, that Baba is there. But it is to tap back into this resource of Baba in the moment that something happens. Baba often talks of suddenly things will happen. And whether or not at that moment, within 1 second, Baba say, within 1 second, whether you have passed or you have failed. So it's really to check the self. How is my faith? Is my faith so strong that I believe that whatever is happening, faith in the self, faith in Baba, faith in drama. Those three things in particular, to be able to help us through what will come, So I was telling, within recent time too, even with my health, I think I've neglected my health quite a bit. So now I am trying to take care of my health as well, because there's some issues that are now happening. And I think for me, faith had to be a big part of it now to deal with it, because karmas is an issue as well, to accept whatever. It's not really anything major that I can't deal with. But the faith in the drama, I'm wondering, was this the same thing that happened in the last time, or did I create it and within this time? But for me, at this point in time, I think it's having so much faith, and whatever is happening is good, and Baba is there with you at every step. I don't know if there's anything you can add to that.
Yeah, I also got the impression from the messages that there was a common theme, and that theme was that difficult times are coming. I think that was not sugar-coated in those messages at all. It was that Baba's not saying it's all going to be okay and don't worry about it. He's saying it's tougher times are coming. And that might be your health, that might be other circumstances. And of course, for here, people in Europe, we have had this scene in the last few months where we saw an entire country be completely demolished very, very quickly. People's lives that they would have spent years building, or generations even building, lives, it ends very quickly. Destruction doesn't take long. Construction is the thing that takes time. Destruction doesn't take long. So this is the message. Now, we also know that climate change is on its way. So I think Baba is slipping in those things around the environment and the elements and those circumstances. We've had a pandemic recently that was also very sudden. So these are all aspects of nature. We have to remember that. Whether we separate them, don't we? We separate the bodily health and natural calamities and food shortages and money problems, but that's all nature. That is all the same. And so we have to understand that this is that time when nature is reacting. And then you've got the human urge to destroy. So I think what we hadn't understood, for example, with the Ukraine war, was the impact it would have on food prices in completely unconnected places of the world. Oil prices. We hadn't really understood that Ukraine would have such an impact. But I was hearing politicians from Africa commenting on how sanctions, for example, on Russia are actually impacting upon their prices there. So we are seeing that things don't take long to change. The world has changed since February, and now there's an arms race back on again, all sorts of things happening, positioning happening. And as you're saying, there's faith, and for Brahmins, it's faith based on understanding. And so this faithful intellect is what's allowing us to see past, and it's seeing past destruction that enables us to stay strong. Otherwise, it's very scary. So I agree with you. And with karmic accounts on top of that, I think the other message we're getting in the Morales is clear as much as you can before it comes to settle. I think that that's been really clear in recent weeks, and something I am reminding myself each day, that it's not at the time of settlement that we've got to suddenly begin having yoga. The idea is that we try and turn everything from a crucifix into a thorn. So when it comes to settle, it's nowhere near as bad as it would have been. And that's also faith as well, isn't it? It's that understanding that this would have been much worse. There are some Morales with other comments on people's feedback that before I became a BK, my life was really comfortable, and then suddenly I became a BK. They used to say this to Brahma Baba, that suddenly I became a BK and all my problems started. And Baba says, well, actually, this is the time of settlement. So all that would have happened is you would have been settling without Baba's support. There's not a choice about settling. So it's that time, and we have to understand that that's the time. Now, what's the opportunity? Well, the opportunity is to accumulate now, and when we're well enough, when times are peaceful enough. And then when the challenges come, it's about that's the testing. So you must never be convinced by anything until it's tested. So you wouldn't, you travel on a train, you're expecting that the rails are tested and the train is tested before you're sitting on that. And my understanding is those things are tested to the nth degree, planes, for example, and so on. And then you look at foodstuffs as well. We're expecting a certain standard because it's been tested, different types of products, medical products, and so on. So I think we've got to look at these situations as part of testing. Testing, and it's testing that makes us strong. You see, it's all very well studying and knowing and enjoying. But I think what Baba is also implying is that these papers are going to come to help you to see what's left to do. So I very much am moving myself away from, like, I suppose it's an emotional wish. I hope these papers don't come, to now an emotional embracing of these things. And that's just because I'm feeling more ready. Yeah, I'm feeling more ready emotionally for these things. One thing I'm working on at the moment is the power to confront, the power to face. Now, I have an abundance of this. So I'm actually working on not having this, not using it as much. I'm not afraid of most things. I'm quite happy to tackle them. But actually, I've been overusing it, which then causes more issues on in itself. So I'm working more on the tolerance and the accommodation side rather than the power to face, the power to confront things. And again, that takes courage, because as long as we're taking sorrow, let's take the example of this slogan that Baba gives us: consider your critics to be your friends. Now, that's a difficult thing to do, because the instinct is to reject criticism, because it's a defensive mechanism for our emotions. We associate criticism with sorrow. But what's Baba's training? Baba's training is consider the critics to be your friends. And I think that I haven't been ready up until now, really, to do this. But I am feeling more ready now. So I had a situation at work two weeks ago where I'm co-teaching this module. I'm the module leader, and the associate teacher that's teaching with me, they're very good. And I was away for the start of this module. So this person, they pick things up. And it was just logical that they teach the first half and then I teach the second half of the module. So that's how we did it. So when I began marking the second half of the module, students were not happy, because a change of style, a change of creativity. And they picked up on the fact that because I was away, there was an inconsistency in some of the messaging. And they'd been told by the other teacher that they didn't need to include something, and I was judging them on the basis that they should have included. So these are adult practitioners. They're like 30, 40, 50 years old. These are professional local government officials. They are not shy to get criticized. They're not shy to tell you if you got something wrong. So I had this wave of emails, and they all talk to each other, and you get this like a union representative type. I have spoken with the rest of the class, and none of us. So I began to get all of these emails, and they were copying it into all sorts of other people, full of criticism for my marking. Now, I think even 1 year ago, I would have been defensive. And this time, because so 2 weeks ago, I'd said to Baba, I am going to work on this. I'm going to completely do whatever happens. I am not going to use confrontation. That is my promise to Baba. And there was a video, Morley, that came up maybe from the London Centre one Monday. And I think I did mention it in the morning classes, but it's really helped me a lot. And I can't recall the date of the Morley, but in that, Shiv Baba is saying that I think he was focusing on anger in that Morley, but he said, do it for 30 days and it will begin to become natural. And that line just stayed with me. Baba used to ask everyone to raise their hands. Will you do it? Raise your hands. And then he asked the camera guy to record them raising their hand. And that was his style. And in that gathering, people were reticent about raising their hands. And because, they were trying to be genuine, of course. So what Baba said was really helpful. He said, try for 30 days. Now, if you can do it for 30 days, So he was picking up on this aspect of faith, the part of faith. Do you believe you can actually be different? You know, do you believe you can handle something in a different way? If you've done it a certain way for so long, and as Brahmins, when we're younger Brahmins, sometimes we have more hope in ourselves. And then actually, as we're older Brahmins, we say, well, I still haven't changed this sanskar. I don't know if I'll ever change. You can begin, even if you're not consciously thinking that. You can be unconsciously thinking that. So Baba, I just found it so helpful. So I'm probably two weeks into that 30 days. So I just said to myself, okay, 30 days, I'm not going to confront anything. Anything that comes up, I'm not going to use confrontation. So this situation came up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just responded, yes, of course, I can look at it again. Yes, of course. Oh, thank you for that. And I took that. I embraced the criticism, adjusted. And then, of course, there were some parts of the criticism that weren't valid. And so then just pointed out some points like that. But generally, and I must have had 10 different students. So each one review, because as a policy, we don't review marking. You know, that is the department policy. So, but I felt in this situation, it was right to take on board because there was an inconsistency of instruction. So I got an email from the person who had written to like all these different departments complaining about me. And her final email was, Shailen, I'm really pleased the way you've handled all this. And I really appreciate all this. And I had that from another student as well. So that bit she didn't copy to everyone. The complaint and the criticism was sent to everyone. The bit that she's happy with everything, she only sent to me. But I then forwarded to everyone to say, I think we're okay. You know, I think I think everything is now sorted. So I think this is also part of the messaging from Baba in these bold messages, that be aware that these different challenges are going to now come to you, but don't view those challenges. So your point about faith is right, that what knowledge teaches us is that these are test papers. They are not, even to look at it as karmic accounts, I suppose, in a sense, is a lower level of thinking. A higher level is, what is it testing me on? What is it teaching me about? And I think that's the way Baba wants us to approach this. And as I say, we don't know until we are tested. We can assume that we are ever ready. We don't know. And so I think the process of for Brahmins will be mini distractions, you know, a series of mini distractions. So we do find this across the Brahmin family, that one place a Brahmin, well, there are Brahmins in Ukraine. I mean, there are 8 centers apparently. I mean, I don't know what's happening. So I mean, just completely things are just gone. And then I remember last year, brothers and sisters in South Africa, I think it was in Durban, they suddenly had these communal riots. It just happened so quickly. And they couldn't get petrol and all sorts of things happened. And of course, we all went through the pandemic. So I think all of this is saying, okay, what percentage are you in these 8 powers? You know, is your decision making and your discernment there? As I said to you, I think I was overusing the power to face, underusing the power to accommodate. So you got to be 100% in everyone. You can't. As human beings, we can get by with a percentage of each. You know, you can have a limit. You can say, well, I did tolerate. I did tolerate for this man. And Baba's comment will be, so what is, you're not a master ocean? That's it? You just did it for, but Baba, I've been tolerating for years. You should see this guy. Well, Has Baba said that he's going to tolerate you for a few years? Or has he said he's the ocean? He's going to keep accommodating you till the end. You've got to become like Baba. So I think that this is my take on those old messages, that tough times are coming, but they are testing times to make us strong. Come in, anyone who wishes to. Hello, Juliet Ben. Barbara Ben.
Thank you, brother and sister Ambika. This was a very interesting topic this morning, and the faith portion of it and the belief is very, very important. But I have a different twist to this. What do you think about dreams? And you have these, sometimes you get some vivid dreams where there are certain situations and Baba comes in to help you. I know I have had dreams where I believe in healing, and I love the aspect of healing. I studied Reiki to a certain extent. I didn't know about Baba before, but I use Baba's light in that as well. And I send healing to various people. And sometimes, and I had dreams where Baba is helping me to do this. A few nights ago, I dreamt where there was this terrible earthquake, a terrible earthquake that was happening when the home that I am in is shaking, but nothing is happening. And everybody's in a frenzy. And I said, why is everybody worrying? We would not have a problem. Remember, God is with us. We would not have a problem. And the earthquake stopped. So I believe that sometimes you get these dreams to reassure you that everything is okay. You are able to handle whatever comes along once God is with you. I don't know your take on that.
Yes, maybe it's that way round, but maybe it's the other way round. I mean, hearing you in these past weeks, I know that you're very firm in your positive attitude and your positive thinking. So I get the impression from you is you don't allow yourself to have waste thoughts in the day. So it might be the other way round, that you've programmed your subconsciousness to think positively. So one of the points we've been getting from Baba recently is about constant yoga. You might remember in last Sunday's Morally, Baba was saying there are 3 levels for the Brahmins: the cooperative and loving Brahmins, then you've got the cooperative and yogi Brahmins, and then you've got the constant yogis. And we had an extract from Mama's class the other day where she was talking about attention on keeping the awareness at every moment, at every step. And this intensity of practice that Mama and Baba and the senior daddies had has meant that they developed a constant yoga in waking time. And then I've heard from Daddy Genki how, quite a number of times, how she had the experience of serving through dreams. So I think it might be that way round, that what Baba is getting us to do is develop our yoga while we're awake. And then as we develop that chart and move towards constant yoga, then there's an impact of that on the subconsciousness at night. And so these daddies, they have the experience of being in yoga while they're sleeping as well. So this is how it becomes constant yoga. We have to do it consciously when we're awake. And then subconsciously, even when we're asleep, we can stay in yoga. And it's because during the day, there's no margin for filling things into your subconsciousness, which could create a mix. I think what dreams teach us is the fears that we have suppressed inside, other reactions that we've suppressed. They cannot remain suppressed in our subconsciousness when we're asleep. So for me, I'm very much aware that there is a burden in my subconsciousness, and this is what I mean about being ever ready, that actually when test papers come, it's often not a rational reaction. It's often our subconscious reaction at that moment. And this is why what you're doing is important, because you are teaching yourself to think really positively and powerfully during the day. So it sounds like you've got a lot of ever readiness in your subconsciousness. And again, I mean, if we take the example of just basic needs, if an earthquake happens and we can't get clean water, you know, that will be a big test for Brahmins more than anyone else. Because as Brahmins, we're used to cleanliness, we're used to all sorts of needs like that. So at that point, how much have we got that power to adjust? We're not going to know for sure until something happens. But what we don't want is subconscious fears taking over at that point. So it is important that we are training our mind to think in a particular way. So it links in with the points that Ambika Ben was mentioning about faith. We are often, you might find your conscious mind has the faith, but it's your subconsciousness that's not convinced. And so Brahmins can be in a sense of dissonance, where it's true we have faith, and it's true we have doubt. And so you can be in that. It's true we've got courage, and it's true we're scared. And it's because, and if we can reach a point, you might remember the previous 2 Thursday Borg messages from Shanti Bhavan. They were on this imagery of the crystal. And Baba was saying, you've got to become crystal clear. He's looking inside of the crystals and they're cloudy. And I think the previous Thursday it was unbroken love, unbroken faith, awareness of your fortune, and in the middle of the crystal was Baba the point and I the soul the point. That was his formula for this clarity. So that unbroken love, which means remembrance, then the faith, unbroken faith, as Ambika Ben's mentioned, but then adding into that awareness of the fortune. And then I think that, so sorry, that was repeated that was repeated in this Thursday's Borg message about the point form. So that's come up 2 Thursdays in a row that we're not practicing the drills. So Lynette Ben, you're talking about Baba's light, and I think Baba's saying we have to unlock more light. You know, that this is the sun of knowledge, so he has unlimited light, and we're accessing part of his light. But I think he's suggesting the more we practice the point form, we will unlock and unleash that part of the light inside.
Thank you, brother. That was very helpful.
Yeah, thanks for raising that.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti too.
Do you want to say anything?
I'm enjoying listening.
She's enjoying listening. So Juliet Ben, Barbara Ben, Maria Ben, would you like to share anything?
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
I'm just happy to listen this morning. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Nice to have you here. Barbara Ben, Maria Ben, would you like to share anything?
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Just that
Oh, sorry, Barbara Ben, are you able to speak a little louder or go a bit closer to the microphone?
Okay, is that better?
Yes, a bit better, thank you.
Yes, just that the Mama's day was very special. In fact, the few days leading up to Mama's day and after had some very good experiences in meditation. one recently was at Amit Villa. I was seeing this, like, how should I put it? Just visualize like different types of lights radiating. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, different types of light radiating and pulsating. And I closed my eyes and they were still there. I opened them because I always sit with my eyes open, and they were there. And I just observed. And then this one bright light just came. And right away, Baba Bap Dada was there. And it was so powerful. And I just knew that I was in that bodiless stage, and just taking a lot of light and light from Baba and the daddies, because Mama, Prakash Mani, Didi, the brothers, Jagdish, it's like all these souls, you know, the ancestor souls, they were there in the angelic form. And but that connection with Mama, I felt it more closely this year, and as if Mama was like I needed that balance. I don't know if because I just lost my mom, my lucky mother, but yes, it was a very, very good experience.
It sounds wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, I think even now I'm still feeling Mama's presence very powerfully. I think it's a very interesting dynamic, isn't it? This avyakt sustenance, this angelic sustenance. It's a very interesting way in which Baba, he's weaning us off all of the physical sustenance and making us take more from that subtle level. And so it's very, I think he's also enhancing the projection maybe as well of the subtle region to support Brahmins even more. The Morally we're going to read today is actually an 18th January Morally, and Baba's making comments in that Baba moved Brahma Baba into the subtle region to speed everything up. And so I think there might be an acceleration, an enhancement. I think it was Delhi Janki's day where Baba sent the message that he's giving special blessings at the moment, like here's some bonus blessings during this period. He didn't specify how long that period was. So I wonder whether that is also contributing to these special experiences. And I think many Brahmins are moving forward. You know, I think they're letting go of a lot of things, moving forward of a lot of things, making intensive efforts. So it feels like there's more focus among Brahmins who are yogis. I think everyone is really trying. So wonderful to hear that. Would anyone else like to come in and say something?
I just want to share a little bit on like this week, Trinidad was supposed to have had a storm. And it was the first time that I could recall that they were predicting cyclone wind, force winds, which cyclone doesn't come when this part of the Caribbean and Trinidad. And they actually dismissed schools early, government officers, they closed offices and all that. And it was two systems that were meeting. And when I came home, I live on a ground floor. I have a river close by. And sometimes I wonder if it is carelessness or so. But I had no worry. I did what I had to do. I just came in and I think I went to sleep my normal time. It was supposed to hit at one time 7, then 9, then 10. And I slept. And in the morning, there was nothing, to only find out that it passed between the two islands, which is a very narrow space between Trinidad and Tobago, that narrow area. And, you know, they often used to say, Trinidadians are very go-lucky people. I think anything that comes too serious, they make a a joke out of it and lighten it. And they used to always say with Trinidad, Trini is a God is a Trini. But, you know, one of the things with Trinidadians is that as much as they're carefree, they pray. And I think even the Brahmins in Trinidad would have done, you know, things have improved within the Brahmins family. I think, as you're saying, they're getting a bit more serious, letting go of stuff. And I do feel that for that storm, it would have helped. But I was also thinking it has to happen, and it will happen eventually. And I'm wondering whether or not, because the time wasn't right for us, that there's more work that we need to get done. That because Trinidad is not prepared for any major category hurricane or storm. It will devastate the island. The resources are not there. So I was thinking that, yes, Baba is there and we will have to go eventually. But I was thinking that probably there's so much more that time is allowing us to be able to increase our power, to be able probably to face what is to come, because we're not ready as we should be.
I think that's right. I can recall Morley's where Baba has said that he's pausing everything. The distraction is ready to go, but he is pausing it to give the Brahmins time. And this is why I think you're right to pick up on these bold messages, giving that message of the shortness of time. I think we've got to also understand that the meaning of that is that we have to accumulate over a long period of time in order to be successful. So this concept of becoming ready is not just like you've given the example of the civil government in Trinidad. Now, in order to be prepared for a storm, that's a 5-year, 10-year process. You can't just get ready on a flip of a coin. You have to prepare. And this is why most countries are not prepared, because you have a democracy, the government's changing every few years. It's quite short term, yeah, and you find that there are lack of preparation in the long term. So Baba is saying that you've got to treat yourself like a self-kingdom, and you've got to have a stock. It's got to be a lot of power and love and adjustment and wisdom. It's all got to be stocked up over time so that when the metaphorical storms hit, you're ready. And this is the meaning behind not enough time. And sometimes Baba uses the phrase, the too late board. And my understanding of that is not that too late board means then destruction's happening immediately. It's that you've no longer got time enough to prepare. You know, you're going to, whatever you've got, you're going to just have to face destruction with whatever you accumulated. That's my understanding of the too late board. So it's always, you know, there's sayings, isn't there, in the world as well, that you've got to prepare when times are good. You know, different countries, they'll all have these different sayings. My Lokik father used to tell me this saying that he said it in Gujarati, I can't remember it in that language, but it was that you have to earn money when you're young and pickle vegetables for the winter, something like that. You know, some sort of saying that, you know, when you got the harvest, you got to get on with the pickling. You've got to be ready. And this is what Baba is saying to us. These messages are giving us this clear understanding. In a sense, you switch on the news. It's a Lokik Bhog message, isn't it? You switch on the news. What is the news telling you? Get ready. It's saying, get ready. Look what's going on. This is the end of the Iron Age. There can be no doubt about it. The science is clear on climate change, and we know the governments are not responding. That is clear as well. It's not going to happen. So these things are going to hit. We can see that there's always a tyrant somewhere in the world ready to invade someone in the world. There's always a warmonger somewhere. That's no shortage of those in history. So what more do we need to know? Like, how long? I put up a slogan on my Facebook yesterday by this philosopher Noam Chomsky. Some of you will be familiar with his writing. And it was something along the lines that not only do people not know what's going on, they don't know that they don't know what's going on. And so this is, you know, the messages are all there. And I don't think anyone can really say they don't know what's going on. It's they're choosing not to act. And Baba is saying, for you, Brahmins, this is not an option anymore. You have to get yourself ready. So if we think about, okay, Mama and Baba were exceptionally fast, but we look even at the 8 jewels, and it took best part of 80 years, you know. So you think about the level of accumulation. I was thinking of Dedi Chandramani and Dedi Janki, and they were both like equivalents, really. And Dedi Chandramani, it was in drama that she had to go and play a new role in 1997. And Dedi Janki was with us an extra 23 years. And when we talk about the 8 jewels, we tend to talk about Dedi Janki and not Dedi Chandramani. I mean, we don't know for sure. But, you know, you look at that extra 23 years that we got from Dedi Janki, but also she got. You know, to come into that eight jewels, that it would take a massive stock to be able to do that. And it was in drama that she got that extra time. Otherwise, she was getting ready to leave the body in the 1980s, and she was very unwell in those days as well. But because she had to be given time to accumulate, to become, the drama gave it to her. So similarly, we should say, okay, we're being given time. Baba said in March, he's giving a special blessing for extra accumulation. He's still multiplying by multi-millions. What more opportunity do we need? So I think that first and foremost, my main message to all Brahmins is never miss Amrit Vela. Prioritize Amrit Vela. That is the key to everything. I really feel Amrit Vela is the key to effort. And without Amrit Vela, we can't really develop the yoga power that we need. You've got free blessings, free accumulation at that time. And if nothing else, keep yourself fresh for that one. There was a Murali a few months ago on a Sunday where Baba said, even if you've got to go to bed early, an hour early, do that. Do an hour's less service. But make sure you're Amrit Vela. You're alert, you're enjoying that. And then I think listening to the Murali, that again should be non-negotiable for everyone. And it might be useful to hear it more than once. So again, I think we've got this time to study. Then during the day, our practice of talking to the soul. That's been one of the topics this week in the Murali. Talk to the soul. Now, none of us can say we don't have time to do that. That's nothing to do with time. That's to do with whether we're careless and lazy or whether we can be bothered. That's all that is. So let's accumulate. Every time we look at the soul, we're emulating Shiv Baba. He talks to the soul. And so we feel closer to Baba as we copy Baba, as we emulate what Baba's doing. So there's a natural yoga that develops through that as well. And then to have a routine in the day that works for you in terms of practicing drills, but also service through the mind. So as you all know, I find it quite helpful to have 3 parts to my day. So even if I forget in between, I get reminded after a while that, okay, this is the morning. The morning is yoga for myself and yoga for my drama, my personal drama. The afternoon is yoga for the Brahmins. So from 12 till 5:30. I keep reminding myself I've got to have yoga for all the Brahmins, that they succeed in whatever they're doing. And so that's my time for that. And then after 5:30, the yoga for all the souls of the world. And I just find it helpful to have that sort of structure. So I keep on reminding myself, oh, you're meant to be contributing here to someone else's life. Let's get on with this. That's what your time is for. So I really feel that we've got an opportunity. Who knows when you're going to fall ill? Who knows when something is going to happen? And you can't do these things. So this is the main message. Maria Ben, you've come on the screen. Do you want to come in? Oh, Shanti, we can see you well, but we can't hear you. Is there something wrong with the microphone?
Unmute.
Yeah, you're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
I'll fix it up.
Aha, there we go. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. So I've been working a lot on Tapasya because Baba has been bringing us back to the year of Tapasya. So I went to that search engine that you mentioned, and with the word Tapasya, and I see that a lot of those Murlis, Avyak Murlis, are of 1991 season. And I also found a booklet from Daddy Prakashmani. So we are translating all the 100 blessings for Tapasya. So I will put the Google Groups website in case some of the sisters would like to take a look each day for 100 days. It is in Italian and the English is under. So if anybody wants to take a look.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'll definitely distribute that. So yes, that sounds wonderful. That sounds like a great project.
Okay. It came from a retreat. And then just a question. I was at a retreat in the Alps, and there was this question talking about when will, because there was a sort of like a quiz game, and when will Lakshmi and Narayan get married? And so we were all, and then the real answer, which I didn't know, was when they will be 75. So that's sort of like, and I said, so when will the golden age start, when they get married or whatever? Anyway, it came out, the 75 years. So when there will be time, if you can.
Yeah.
If Ranjan Ben has heard of that also.
I think so. I mean, Ranjan, do you want to? So I think I've shared this with you before, sister. I'm very, very cautious about numbers when it comes to years and things like that. I took this up a few weeks ago in the classes that when Baba talks about time, we have to think, what is time? So there's a whole physics around this. You know, what is time? Like, what is it? Like we can feel material things. Baba tells us there's a soul. Well, we know these things are there, but what is time? What is it? And when you hear the narrative in the Morally, Baba actually is confirming what some of these physicists have concluded over the last 200 years, that time means change. That only when something changes, the gap between something being what it was and something that is now, that gap in change is what we call time. So I'm very, very cautious about these numbers in years, because as human beings, we've created calendars and clocks and all sorts of things to manage our world. And I am cautious that we then project that onto Shiv Baba. And he is meaning something completely something different, but we assume he means what we understand. So I'm very cautious about these things. And I've also heard that 75-year thing. I've heard 50 years, I've heard 25 years, all sorts of things. And I just take it all with a pinch of salt. I don't know if you have that saying as well in England, that I don't subscribe to anything like that. What I know is what Baba's message is. Children, when you change, the world changes. So for me, that's what time is. Time is the change. And that could be, Brahmins could change this year. Like we could all suddenly accelerate. And what was going to take, the golden age was going to take another 10 years, suddenly in 2 years, it could come. Other way around, the Brahmins slow down. I think Baba says then the Iron Age prolongs. So I don't think Baba is saying there's a date. I think Baba is saying, children, when are you going to be ready? When are you going to change? Brahma Baba's changed years ago. Mama has changed years ago. So they've all changed. All these senior daddies, they've become angels. So they've done it. They've enacted the change. Baba says it's waiting for us. So when will Lakshmi and Narayan come to the throne? When we are ready, I suppose, you know. So it's when that change happens. So I think before then, Baba's taught us that we got the birth of Krishna. And what's clear is that there are two parts to confluence age. There's the time of Shiva, and then there's the time of Krishna. And we're currently in that time of Shiva. But like Baba said this morning, he's going to then guide everyone back home. And once he's taken everyone back home, Brahma Baba will also go back then at that time. He'll touch the soul world and then incarnate. And there's probably not really a time difference between the two. You know, it's just almost instant. Shiv Baba takes everyone back up and Krishna incarnates. So almost the two things are happening simultaneously. And Shiv Baba's light is going to pull everyone up. And then Baba's described in the Morali that this world gets filled with the light of Krishna. That it's not hidden. That Shiv Baba's light is very subtle. It's all very subconscious, and people don't even know that Shiv Baba's here. But with Krishna, it's going to be big light. And if we think about Brahma Baba's soul, that he's been liberated from a body now for over 50 years, suspended in an angelic realm. And in the Quran, they talk a lot more about Adam, like this, Adam being up there in the Subtle region. And there's a few lines in the Quran that Allah orders Adam to go and take a body so creation can start again. And Adam says, no. Adam says, I'm not going. I prefer to just stay up here. And Allah has given the order. So then the angels, the fairies of heaven, they begin singing to Adam. And it's the song of the angels that persuades Adam to come and incarnate into a body, to become embodied. So I think the Brahmins are the angels. And so until the Brahmins are ready to sing the song of the angels, like Baba says, some Brahmins will have to go and become part of the advanced party and invite those first deities to be embodied with the pure birth. So I think that is really, it's that change. We have to ask ourselves, do I have the ability, the purity to welcome Sri Krishna into this world? Do I have that? Are we as Brahmins ready for this new world, this new way of doing things? Do we have that? So that for me is time. And then Sri Krishna will grow up, and whenever he's ready, he'll become Narayan. So that bit I don't think we need to. Construction will happen accordingly. But imagine this world now. Like if you just visualize this world, and then imagine Shiv Baba taking everyone up. So this planet becomes empty of all of the Tamapradhan souls. So at the moment, all the Tamapradhan souls are spreading dark energy into this world. But imagine Shiv Baba emptying all souls from this world, and then the soul of Sri Krishna incarnating. And so this world will suddenly have an injection of angelic light. So the world will, if no one else now, even if we've got Baba, Mama, senior daddies, there's such a weight of negative energy that negative energy is holding the planet in an Iron Age state. But once Shiv Baba empties this planet of all of the negative energy, then this planet will respond to the consciousness of Krishna. So that soul will incarnate, and just in your third eye, just bring it, imagine this world responding to the consciousness of Krishna, all the elements, all the animals, everyone just responding. That think how special. There will be no battle between good and evil. It will just be this one consciousness, and then Sri Radhe, Lakshmi and Narayan, their consciousness determines everything that's happening in the world. So I just don't think in terms of numbers and years. I think in terms of change. That's what time is.
But Shailen, there's another version that Krishna will be born in a clean area of this still dirty planet, because we have 35 years to make him become Narayan.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, I see what you mean, but I don't think that can be correct, because the soul of Brahma has to go to the soul world, and that doesn't happen until Shiv Baba takes everyone back.
This planet has to be totally clean before even deities we can put.
Well, there are, I've heard this version that Maria Ben is mentioning before, that because people are thinking in numbers, there are many Brahmins who are totally convinced that destruction must happen in 2036. So Krishna, I've heard this since the 1980s. Krishna has already been born somewhere, and then by 2036 he'll be ready to take the throne. Some Brahmins are very caught up, and I think that's my main message, that don't get caught up in numbers. This is about change. But definitely the soul of Brahma has not gone to the soul world. He is in the subtle region. We know that for sure. And the rule in the drama is that everyone must touch home first before the next cycle begins. And that soul of Brahma, he will be the first. So if he could have gone home, then he would have already gone by now. But Shiv Baba is very clear. All souls go home once together. That's it, the procession of Shiva.
And in the Kalpa tree at the top, Brahma Baba is waiting for us. Commander-in-Chief is waiting for us to be ready, so he can take us, because we are also an army, we are military, and the chief cannot go. He has to wait for everyone. So you can see how, Baba says, become like me, and just so I can embrace. And then he will embrace the people who will be in sorrow, the others who didn't, and take them. There will be a form of Dharamraj as well.
Yes, and we had these Mordis this week on the Mother Brahma. So I don't think Brahma, the soul of Brahma, can just vacate that role. I think as long as we've got Father Shiva, we've got Mother Brahma.
And then speaking of numbers, there was also the thing of who will be the eighth of the eight. There are all these little discussions among.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, do you have an idea? What are your thoughts? I'm not so sure.
But the very fact that there still is one space means that anyone.
Yes, I mean, I don't know. When Daddy Janki had come to my home, our home in 1995, I'd asked her that are Mama and Baba part of the eight, and she felt that they weren't. And I think now I also feel definitely not. Back in the day, you see, you would have had a different eight. So when the original picture of the Tree of Religions was made, the Visharathan was asked to create that, and the design and the roots of the tree you'll see is Vishnu in the middle, Mama and Baba sitting in Tapasya either side of Vishnu. So Baba had said to draw that you can see that this Mama and Baba, they're going to become Vishnu. So they're through their tapasya, they're becoming Vishnu. Then Baba had said, put the 8 jewels around. So they actually have the faces. So Dada Vishwarathan asked Baba who should be drawn. So there was, of course, Didi Manmohini, like they were always the seniors from the beginning. Didi Manmohini, Daddy Prakashmani, Daddy Chandramani was in there. I think Daddy Shantamani was in there. There were a few, and then a few of the other, like Daddy Bridge and the older daddies who were there. And I think he put in, I think Daddy Vishuga, he put in 7. And Daddy asked, well, there's one more. Who shall I put as the 8th one? And Brahma Baba was sort of thinking and put in signs. And then he just said, just put your face in there. And so he drew, Baba told him to draw his face in the 8th. So this concept of the 8 has shifted as time has gone on, and Big Brahman's always been thinking on this. And Dedi Janki used to say that when she saw the picture, she was looking for her face and it wasn't there in the 8. And so she was a little bit upset at the start, but it always motivated her. She was determined that she would then end up becoming. But then later on, Baba had written to her to say that he thought she would come in the 8. So that gave her more belief. But I would say even for Dedi Janki, right up until maybe the 1990s, 2000, many people didn't think she would come into the 8 jewels. And there were other senior daddies, you know, people like Daddy Brijender, they were a lot older and they had lived with Baba much more closely. So they would have been contenders at that time. So I think these perceptions have changed. You know, my view would be, I think, Didi Manmani, Daddy Prakashmani, Dada Vishwa Kishore, Daddy Janki, Daddy Gulzar. I think for me, that's it. The others probably a bit debatable. The other thing I'm never sure with Baba is that will he switch things a little bit. Sometimes he says, oh, that's one set of 8, there's another set of 8. And actually he does that. Here's 108, this is another 100. And he just says he can add in rows into these things. So yeah, I think I'm certain about those 5.
And just to close in Madhuban, in you said, oh, there's the 8, but there will also be their husbands and wives, so they will be 16.
Possibly, but Mama and Baba will also be Lakshmi and Narayan more than once, I think. So yeah. I mean, I don't know how all these things work, and also it's more than 8 births when you think about how you don't spend a full birth on the throne. So it's not just 8 Lakshmi and Narayans, it's more than that across the age. So yeah, I used to think about all these things, but I'm not so worried about them now. But what I do know is that time just means change. I don't think it's a number. Thanks for that, Maria. Good to have you here. Okay, let's move into the Morali. So this first half has been really about the power of faith, hasn't it? And yesterday and today, the Moralis have been about the power of love. So that's the Morali that I've chosen. Baba, the ocean of love, Baba, the beloved. And today, the Morali we're going to hear is on God's power of love. Power of faith acts like magic. But in this Morali, what really comes across is how the power of God's love really acts like magic. And Baba said to us yesterday, you have to become master oceans of God's love. So as we absorb that love, our capacity to also love in that way continues to grow. So I'll hand over to Andrew.
Om Shanti. Good morning to all. This is the Murli of 18th January 1994. So it's 1801-94. Avyakt Bapdada. Baba says, today the love-filled remembrances of all the children in all four directions reached Almighty Bapdada like an ocean of love. The comforter of hearts. In Hindi, it is Dilaram. D-I-L-A-R-A-M. Dilaram means the comforter of hearts. So Aram means comfort. And Dil means heart. So the comforter of hearts, Dilaram, is merged in the heart of each and every child. And all of the loving children are merged in the heart of the comforter of hearts. Love is a very great power. The power of love makes labor easy. Where there is love, there is no labor, and laboring becomes a form of entertainment. It feels like a game. The power of love makes you forget the body and the bodily world in 1 second. You can forget whatever you want and remember whatever you want and merge in that in 1 second. The power of love easily makes you remember. It makes you similar to the Father. Love constantly gives you the experience of the company of the Supreme at every moment. Love makes you experience the canopy of the hand of blessings over yourself. Love makes the impossible possible so easily that it is as though the task has already been accomplished. Love makes you free from worry at every moment. Love gives you the experience of a stage of guaranteed victory in every action. Do you experience the power of love in this way? Bap Dada knows that you souls are tired due to having labored in many ways for many births. Because you souls have been tied in so many bonds, you have continued to labor. This is why, as a blessing, Bap Dada is giving all you children the easy method of the power of love, which easily makes you free from laboring. Remember the first period of your Brahmin life. As soon as you took birth, it was the power of love that gave all of you a new life. Did you have to labor to experience the power of love? Did you have to labor? You experienced this easily, did you not? So the first experience of this birth is a blessing. You became lost in love. Constantly keep this blessing of love in your awareness. At the time of having to labor, you can transform something laborious with the power of love. So Baba says, at the time of having to labor, you can transform something laborious with the power of love. Bap Dada does not like it when the children have to labor. You experience something to be laborious when you forget the power of love. No matter how big a situation may be, with love, even a mountainous situation is transformed and becomes as light as water. Love can change stone into water. No matter how much the fearsome or royal forms of Maya come to oppose you, merge in the ocean of love, and Maya's power to oppose will finish in 1 second. Your power of remaining merged will not just work as a magic mantra, but it will become the Shiv mantra. All of you have the power of the Shiv mantra, do you not?
In Hindi, the word for magic mantra is Chu mantra. So in this morally, it's unusual for Baba to be using these words. It's very uncommon in the morals. So I remember it very vividly. And so the Chu mantra, C-H-O-O, that means the magic mantra that people who are using occult methods, they're trying to get that sort of magic mantra to enable them to have some sort of power. And Baba's evoking that and saying that in Bhakti, you can just attain maybe one sort of magical power. But this is the Shiv mantra. So in the stories of Bhakti, to receive a blessing from Shiva would be so powerful, much more powerful than just having some sort of magical ability. And they might show that, for example, Sita's father, Janak, he had received the bow from Shiva. That was Shiva's bow. And he then uses that to test Ram. That is Ram worthy of marrying Sita? Can he string Shiva's bow? So they often show these blessings in the form of weapons. This is Shiva's bow. This is Shiva's sword or something like that. And so Baba is saying that if you remain merged in God's love, the situations will actually resolve themselves. So there's a magic to God's love that actually sorts out your drama.
So Baba said, your power of remaining merged will not just work as a magic mantra, but it will become the Shiv mantra. All of you have the power of Shiv mantra, do you not? Or do you lose it? Merge yourself in the love of Shiv. Do not just take a dip and come out again. To have remembrance for a little while, saying, sweet Baba, beloved Baba, means that you just take a dip and come out again. And so Maya casts her vision on you. Merge in love, and you become distant from Maya's vision. Even if you do not know anything else, you know you have the power of love as a blessing from birth. Remain absorbed in that blessing. Do you know how to become absorbed in that? You know how to swim around in that, but not how to become absorbed in that. Love is easy, is it not? All of you have this experience, do you not? Is there anyone here who does not have the experience of the spiritual love of Brahmin life? Is there anyone? If there is, raise your hand. Love is easy yoga. To become absorbed in love is complete knowledge. Love is the important thing for today. See,
I had forgotten that point, but now I remember it again, hearing it, and that this was something that had fascinated me for quite some years. That Baba is saying that to merge in love is complete knowledge or complete wisdom, complete understanding. That ultimately, beyond all of the knowledge that we hear, there's love. And when you are merged in God's love, that is higher than knowing anything else. To be merged in God's love is to know everything. You don't need more. And Benjamin and I had the opportunity to meet Dedi Janki a few times in the last few years that she was around, and we could really feel her Karmatit stage present. And one of the comments that Shiv Baba had made in 1969 was that Brahma was in his Karmatit stage for several months before he actually became an angel. And it was a fortune for souls to have met him at that time. And I kept that in mind. So those last few years with Dedi Janki, Ranjan Ben and I were taking regular trips daily. I was going daily, really, anytime Dedi was giving a class, because I could feel that she's in her Karmatit stage. And it's a great fortune to even witness a soul in that sort of stage. And Jendiben was making the comment once in one of those classes that with Daddy now, all you feel is love. That ultimately, when the soul has cleared everything, what's left? It's just love. And so Daddy, relating to all of us, we're her class members for so many years. So she's got so much history with so many souls in London. But what was left at the end? Just love. And so there wasn't memory, there wasn't conversation, it was a meeting just of love. So Baba's saying today, to merge in love is complete knowledge, complete understanding.
And also the sisters who were looking after Daddy said at night, even Daddy would be giving in her sleep. And you know how she liked to give toli, something. And she was always serving people like that. And that's what she was, just giving Baba's power, Baba's love to everyone. So Baba says, Baba said, love is easy yoga. To become absorbed in love is complete knowledge. Love is the important thing for today. Since Amrit Vela, with which special way have you been moving alone? Because remember, it's 18th January, Murli, and Baba began by saying that every child's love Baba felt, And so Baba reminded us that love is the important thing for today, means 18th January. Since Amrit Vela, with which special wave have you been moving along? You have been moving along with the waves of Bap Dada's love. Did all of you souls remember anyone else except the one Father? You had easy remembrance, did you not? Or did you have to make effort? So how did it become easy? It was because of love. Was it not? So, is just today the day of love? The confluence age is the age of experiencing the love of the Supreme, and all the other ages are the ages for the love of human souls. That's why Baba says we have to make the most, because confluence age is short age. All the others age. So the confluence age is the age of experiencing the love of the Supreme. And all the other ages are the ages for the love of human souls. This short age is the age of love of the Supreme. So realize the importance of the age and experience the different experiences of love. The ocean of love is giving you trays full of pearls and diamonds of love. So constantly make yourself overflowing. Do not become happy with just a little experience of this love. Become full. In the future, you will be decorated with physical pearls and diamonds. The pearls and diamonds of supreme love are unattainable then. Therefore, constantly remain decorated with them now. Bap Dada constantly continues to listen to the songs of love and the remembrances of the children in all four directions. But today, as a return of the love of the children who are the embodiment of love, Baba is once again giving you the blessing of easily being in the stage, in the flying stage. So Baba gave us, in return of our love, Baba has given us the blessing of easily being in the flying stage through the blessing of being constantly loving. When anything difficult comes in front of little children, they become merged in the lap of their mother and father. In the same way, become merged in the lap of love, and you will be saved from laboring. Within 1 second, reach Bap Dada with the flying stage, so that no matter in which form Maya has come, she will not be able to touch you, even from a distance. Because not only can she not come under the supreme canopy, but not even the shadow of Maya can touch you from a distance. So to be a child means to protect yourself from Maya. It is good to become a child, is it not? To become a child means to merge in love. You know, so was it not yesterday's slogan that wear the armor of humility and you will be protected all the time.
It was also in the New York Vogue message that Baba said, become a child, sit in front of Baba.
So, yeah. So the Baba has given us this blessing, and like earlier we discussed about all these storms and hard times that will come in front of us. And so Baba has given us the method now that Maya cannot come under the canopy of Baba, so stay with Baba. Even from distance, she can't touch you. So to be a child means to protect yourself from Maya. It is good to become a child, is it not? To become a child means to merge in love. Acha, To the children, Baba is giving us Yad Pyar or blessings again. So, love and remembrance from Bapdada to the children in all four directions who are merged in the heart of the Comforter of Hearts, to the powerful souls who constantly transform labor into love, to the elevated souls who experience the supreme love of the confluence age to be so great, to the special souls who constantly experience the Father's company and his hand of blessings through the power of love and who give others this experience, to the children who are similar to the Father and merged in the ocean of love, Bap Dada's love, remembrances, and Namaste. And we all say Namaste to Bap Dada.
1994 was the silver jubilee of Brahma Baba becoming an angel. And so in this next passage, Baba is especially talking to Daddy Prakashmani, who he handed over to. And Shiv Baba's explained that in that final drishti, as Brahma Baba was flying to the subtle region, he merged the authorities, the powers to run the yajna into that daddy. And so he calls it willpower, that it was a very significant moment where a parent was handing over to the child. And I often think that maybe that's what's going to happen in the Golden Age. Maybe Daddy Prakashmani is going to be the second Narayan. And so at Confluence Age, you've got this handing over directly. After that, you'll see there was no like handing over like that in that way. That was a unique thing where Brahma handed over through his drishti to Daddy Prakashmani. So he's evoking that in this next passage.
Now he's meeting with the daddies, to the daddies. What did you remember today? Did you remember the special hand of willpower? Willpower makes all tasks easy. Did you remember Father Brahma more, or did you remember both Bap and Dada? Everyone specially remembered Father Brahma's divine activities. He became Brahma when Bap and Dada became combined. The task of Brahma began with the incarnation of the Supreme. The divine activities of this Avyakt form are lovely and unique. Remember the history of 25 years of service. So that's the silver jubilee, isn't it? The divine activities of this Avyakt form are lovely and unique. Remember the history of 25 years of service. Ever since the beginning of the Avyakt form, service has taken place with a fast speed. To become Avyakt means to carry out all tasks with a fast speed. The time is changing and moving fast. And the rate of progress of service is also fast. It has become fast, has it not? Therefore, by Baba's becoming Avyakt, the time has been given a fast speed, and service has also been given a fast speed. To the gathering, the souls who have come during the Avyakt part have easily received the fortune of moving with a fast speed in their effort. The souls who have come during the Avyakt part have received the blessing of coming last and so going fast, and going fast and so coming first. Use this blessing. Do not just keep it in your awareness. Put the blessing into use according to the time. By putting the blessing into use, you will automatically experience a fast speed. Avyakt sustenance easily makes you powerful, and you can therefore move forward as much as you want. Bap Dada and the instrument souls have given all of you the special blessing of moving forward. It is like this, is it not? You have the blessing of the daddies. Simply take benefit from them. You receive a great deal, but you do not use as much as you receive. Do not simply put everything to one side of your intellect, but eat everything, use everything. So that's why Baba, sometimes like some feel that we've come late, but you see, Baba is saying he's giving everyone the chance. Those who came earlier, they can make fast speed in their efforts. So Baba gives them, we can, even when that is a meeting, we can see. But that's for us also to make such efforts. And so by saying coming last, but Baba said, keep this blessing of coming first and start making, and Baba gives us more. So Baba is again reminding us, don't get disheartened or have waste thoughts, but Baba says, by putting the blessing into use, you will automatically experience a fast speed. And Baba advises us not just to keep it in your awareness, put the blessing into use.
Okay.
Avyakt sustenance easily makes you powerful, and you can therefore move forwards as much as you want. Bap Dada and the instrument souls have given all of you the special blessing of moving forward. It is like this, is it not? You have the blessing of the daddies. Simply take benefit from them. You receive a great deal, but you do not use as much as you receive. Do not simply put everything to one side of your intellect, but eat everything, use everything. Do you know how to use and how to spend? Or do you carefully put everything away? To say it is very good means to look after something with care and to put it away. Use the goodness for the self and for others. Here to spend means to increase.
Okay, we'll stop there.
Huh?
Is it with the pandas?
No, shall I read it up to this?
Up to the
After that is Pando.
Okay.
Acha, when Baba says Acha.
Yeah.
I finished this one. This is like about a fashion now. Baba is saying, look at the fashion nowadays. Where do people place valuable things? You see? So Baba said, use the goodness for the self and for others. Here to spend means to increase. So Baba is teaching us how to use for the self and to spend. So more you give, more Baba fills us. So Baba is saying, here to spend means to increase. Look at the fashion nowadays. Where do people place valuable things? They put them in a locker. They do not use them, but they remain happy, even by just having these things in their locker. You do this so many times. The point may be very good. The method may be very good, but you become happy just by seeing it in the locker of your intellect. What do the teachers do? Do you put the points in a locker or do you use them? Acha. Okay.
Would you like to share anything?
I shared already. Thank you.
So the main message that knowledge is a power, yoga is a power. We've got all the different powers of yoga, the 8 powers, but experiment with merging in love and see how merging in Shiv Baba's love begins to solve everything, begins to work magic, the Shiv mantra, And you actually begin to attain a lot of success with much less effort. Baba doesn't want to see us struggle and labor. And the other methods have limits, but this is magic.
Yeah, can I just read this much? I just noticed this was the time of when there was an earthquake. Here it says the Mexican, there was a conference, it went good. And then somebody told Baba that there was an earthquake in Los Angeles. It is a sign, Baba says, it is a sign of the fast speed. The elements will show signs of the fast speed from time to time. Baba says, Acha. So
I remember Denise Ben was in Los Angeles at that time. So would anyone like to come in and share your thoughts on the morally?
Shanti, I just love the piece where Baba is saying, if you merge yourself in love, you have nothing else to worry about. And it's so easy. It's so difficult, but it's also easy. And I just love that. I just hope that we could all practice that and just stay in that love and understand that everything will be okay. Shanti.
I think so. I think Baba's sharing that shortcut with us.
yeah, like today's slogan about purity, and we say purity is or cleanliness is next to godliness. And so for that, if purity is works like we say, it's yoga is like a fire. But today Baba said in the slogan, purity is like a fire. So long as we have complete purity, everything to merge in love would be easier. I think to Baba, all Baba wants is purity is our foundation, in purity in every way.
Yes, and there's a certain human intellectual process that we go through. We rationalize, and what Baba does is he satisfies that first by giving us all of this knowledge. We need to understand first. But then he's saying, okay, you've understood now. What's beyond that? So understanding can take you so far. But ultimately, to succeed, you need God's love. It's God's love that enables everything to happen. For 2 whole ages, the world is going to run not on the basis of Shiv Baba's knowledge, but the whole of the Golden and Silver Age functions because of love. And so there's a dominant power within love that can lead to caring decision-making, correct responses, correct solutions. So love can actually be the method to achieve everything, particularly as it should be.
Shanti, yeah, you know, I found this morally to be so powerful. And you know, it reminded me of this song by England Dan and John Ford Cooley, "Love Is the Answer." And in the beginning, I remember in that video that I had seen, it said, if you have any question, love is the answer for that. And Baba is ready for us who may not have realized or need to be reminded, is that the fortune that we have of Baba's love. And once we have that love and feel that love and have that love for Baba to be merged in Baba's love, and being a child, all that incorporated, automatically, that is yoga, because automatically you're with Baba. And also the protection will be there, which is needed more than ever. You know, what has to be, especially at the times we're going through, is that Baba's protection will be there. And as you were saying earlier, whatever is a crucifix becomes a thorn. So that really to remind ourselves of the fortune of having Baba, having his love, and that to be in that that awareness. And also with the message with the daddies is that Baba reminded us, of having come in the Avyak time. We might be more even fortunate than those who came even earlier because we have ready-made, the knowledge is ready-made for us that we don't have now to interpret and churn as much. And that we have Baba and that we also have the blessings of the daddies, that we really have to recognize that if we have not, to always have the awareness, the fortune that we have, that we take from Baba and also the daddies, that what they have given, and also as Ranjan was saying, whatever with the Murli, Baba, we are Brahmins, I remember earlier I asked myself, why am I a Brahmin? And just to say I am a Brahmin, but the Brahmin rule is that whatever you have, you also give. Whatever you receive, there's also to give. And that's where really Baba needs the Brahmin to be able to give back into this world, to bring that transformation. Yes, in the self, but to help with the transformation in others as well. Om Shanti.
Agreed with all of that. Thank you, nicely put. Juliet, Ben, were you wanting to come in with something?
Sorry, but I'm suffering with a bit of a cold, so I accidentally unmuted myself.
Oh, okay. No
I'm
problem.
shut.
No
Okay,
shame.
I'm shut.
Would anyone else like to share anything? Benjamin?
Just nice, very, very nice Murli. Everybody has been enriched. Now it's just practice and be ready.
So I think what we need to take from today is power of faith. Faith is based on understanding. And then take it further, the power of God's love. And ultimately, rather than battling with the what, the why, and the how, take our mind and intellect to Baba and just be still. Be a child and say, Baba, actually, I don't know. I don't know how to do these things in the drama, and I don't know what's best for everyone. Let me just merge in your love. And Baba said that don't just be happy with a little bit of love. Take the full amount. Baba's giving trays full of pearls and diamonds of love. Again, he's evoking imagery from Bhakti. There are pictures that when they churned the ocean produced all these diamonds. And so Baba's saying, well, physical diamonds, fine, but the real treasures are spiritual diamonds from Shiv Baba. And why would you have any inhibition? Don't have any inhibition. Keep filling yourself with that. And that, I think faith has to be used. That Baba's saying, have faith that God's love can sort things out. It's the greatest power in the universe. In the other ages, you've had human love, and human love has helped you. It's got you this far in those different ages. But now you've got something very special because God's love is magic. And so it's able to achieve things you didn't think could be achieved. So again, it's training our intellect to not just be limited to what we think can happen, to what we believe is possible, but to actually be a child and think, well, okay, as a human being, this is what's possible. But now, what can God achieve through God's love? So let me just merge in that and then see what happens in the drama, see what energy flows into the drama that can shift things. So all of us, let's experiment this week. That rather than thinking too much, saying too much, doing too much. Let's experiment with just taking our mind and intellect up to Baba and merging in the ocean of love. And then seeing whether that energy changes the drama in a way that we either anticipated or didn't. And then let's come back next week and share our experiences.
And just to remember, Baba taught us how to spend and here, you know, and also 2 blessings that Baba reminded us, gave us about flying. So keep Baba's blessings, Baba said, and use them.
Have a great week, all of you. Thank you for joining us here today, and also greetings to those of you. Many of you do tune into the YouTube video later on. So although we don't know who you are, we know that you do. So really pleased that you're connecting at another time as well. We also are thinking of you. So Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you.
Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you.
Have a good week. Om Shanti.
And you. Om Shanti.